I mentioned the Running Smoke podcast. Very proud of that, and proud of the More to It podcast. Marcellus Wiley, part of the Dan Patrick Podcast Network, a weekly show. It's called More to It. Extended interviews across media, sports, and entertainment. This week's guest is Lil Wayne. Here's a portion of that before we get to Marcellus Wiley.
Performance was everything, so it stayed everything to me. I performed in front of caskets.
What?
With the person, the person right there.
They ain't clap. They ain't give you no applause. They ain't give you no celebration. Huh? They gone.
Man, listen, man. That was an interesting experience, man. I was probably every bit of just 12 years old or something, 12 years, like 11, 12. They asked me to write like a poem. I couldn't write it, so I just wrote a rap. I wrote a verse. And so I ran the verse about him in front of the cat, man. The whole church went crazy.
Yeah, and he just laid there chilling like, yeah.
That's when I knew that, I knew for a fact that right at that moment, that was one of the moments where I'm looking at everybody's emotion. Everybody, obviously, they over emotional. They're crying and stuff. And I knew sitting back down in the church pew, I knew for a fact, it felt weird because I was like, man, I feel so good. I was like, I feel so good. I got this reaction.
Yeah.
And so that's when I knew, yeah, you just love to perform, man. That was a whole, you know what I mean?
You can hear the entire interview with Lil Wayne and Marcellus Wiley, the More to It podcast at Dan Patrick Podcast Network. Yes, Paul.
Lil Wayne was hired to play a funeral? Is that what he's saying? He played a funeral?
But let me ask Marcellus Wiley. Is that so they hire Lil Wayne to perform at a funeral?
Yeah, I think the word hire is loose in this conversation. But yeah, he performed at a funeral before. And I think the point of his story was no matter what the circumstances were, obviously emotional funeral, he felt the energy. He felt uplifted despite everyone else feeling the despair and the pain of the funeral. And he said it clicked with him in that moment that I just like to perform. So whatever this life's going to turn into, performance has to be a part of it.
Who would you hire to perform at your funeral?
Oh, man. Outkast. If I had to go there, Outkast, Andre 3000, Big Boy. Wish I was alive to hear it. But at the same time, it would be amazing. That's my favorite group of all time.
All right, I'll see if I can make that happen, Marcellus.
Oh, thank you, Dan. I look forward to it.